The power of music is totally universal. And you know, it's a funny thing, I love all kinds of music. And as a very young boy in Brooklyn, my listening was informed by AM radio. And AM radio back in the day was not formatted like it is today. So, you know, I used to listen to a station called 77 WABC. And you know, 1 minute you could hear Aretha Franklin doing Respect. The next thing you could hear is Grand Funk doing Closer to Home. And then there was Rare Earth, I Just Want to Celebrate. Then there's Archie Bell and the Drells, Tighten Up. So it was like I was so informed by hearing all this stuff. And then on television, there was Dick Clark's American Bandstand, and Don Cornelius' Soul Train, and Don Kirshner's In Concert. So by the time I was ready to get out of Brooklyn and go to nightclubs at a very early age, I knew about so many types of music. And that's, I think, how come I loved so many types of music, because things affected me at a very young age. And you know, when I became an A&R executive, I only signed the things that I felt an emotional connection to. And that could be anyone from Metallica to Nina Simone.
Ain't got no children, ain't got no aunts, ain't got no uncles, ain't got no love.
I had been working at a nightclub in New York called the Ritz. I had a job there. I was the assistant to the booking director there named Jerry Brandt. Jerry was an entrepreneur who started the Electric Circus in the 60s. He also discovered Sam Cooke. He brought the Rolling Stones to the United States when he was working at the William Morris Agency. He discovered Carly Simon, the Voices of East Harlem, and I thought, wow, this is the man. I'm gonna get his lunch, answer the phone, and open his mail. And that soon developed into me being like a sponge. I wanted to know everything. So in those 3 years, I got to know how to book a room the size of the Ritz, which is 1,500 seats. I knew how to speak to the booking agents. But at one point in time, a dear friend of mine who I was actually going out with, named Mitchell Krasnow, said, you know, my dad is leaving Warner Brothers, and he's gonna reboot Elektra, because it was in the crapper, as they say. And so Bob interviewed me, and Jerry Brandt was kind enough to say, I don't want to lose you, but I know you want to move on. So Jerry was kind enough to call Bob Krasnow about me. And I had the same conversation with him that I had with Jerry. We talked about everything from popular music of the day to the Great American Songbook. And I think Bob liked that I knew about all of that kind of music. And you know, at Elektra, there was art all over the place. Bob knew how to merge art and commerce. And so there were Warhols on the walls, Richard Hambleton, Keith Haring, Jean-Michel Basquiat. So we talked a lot about art. And you know, I think 2 weeks later he called me and he said, you got the job. And one of the fun things was when I got my office, I decorated it with lots of black and white photographs, and one day he knocked on the door, he said, what are you doing? And I was like, you know, the chairman comes to your office, like, what are you doing? I'm listening to demos. He looked at my feet and he goes, because I had on proper shoes, he says, let's go get a shoe shine. So, you know, you never knew what Bob was gonna ask of you, but he was so kind and loving to me, and he knew that I was just this kid learning. And like I said, he took me under his wing, and everything changed for me. And that everything was having an A&R career for almost 24 years. As an executive, I always approached things as a fan. I never lost that feeling about, you know, like going to a concert and being crazy and drinking beer and throwing myself in the front of the stage. I was always a fan. And then, you know, 9 to 5 or 9 to 7, I had my executive hat on, and I loved a wide array of music. And I signed stuff, even though there were certain artists that I knew may not sell 1 million records, like a John Lydon, but he was somebody to have on the label. Still being a fan, still loving to go to shows, whether it's, you know, Cyndi Lauper or John Lydon, who I adore and know 38 years. I just go. I go to where I feel the music is going to be fabulous, and I just take it all in.